There are films even whose trailer is something one should avoid, saving everything for the big screen experience. And Dune 2 is one such film. In today's episode of Better Be Film Not Content, we'll be talking about why you should and maybe shouldn't watch Denis Villeneuve's sequel to the 2021 Dune. Dune 2 picks up right where the first film ended. Assuming that you watched the previous rendition 2-3 years ago, let's have a quick recap. The film is set in the distant future where the control of planets is given to the noble houses by the Emperor. One such house is the House of Atreides, whose rapidly growing influence is upsetting the Emperor. To feed his insecurity, he whips up a conspiracy. He gives the House of Atreides control over Arrakis, a planet extremely rich in spice. Spice is their generation's fossil fuel. Like our world, the more one has, the better. To take down Atreides, the Emperor colludes with another noble house. They ambush Arrakis, defeat the Atreides army, and kill the Duke, while Paul and his mother Jessica manage to escape and meet the mysterious natives of the desert, the Fremen. This is where the first film ends. The second installment hits the ground running. Where its predecessor was much about introducing us to the ways of its world, Dune 2 uses a solid foundation and builds on it with full storm. The character arc of Paul, played by Timothée Chalamet, from being a naive, vulnerable young boy in Part 1 to evolving into a man who commands respect in Part 2 is convincing. While watching this transition, a conversation between Paul and his father from Part 1 struck my mind. A great man doesn't seek to lead. He is called to it and he answers. When juxtaposing this dialogue with the arc, one can see how adeptly Paul has absorbed his father's teachings. Jessica's Paul's mother, played by Rebecca Ferguson, is my favorite performance from the film. A close-up of her face when she's been taken over by a spirit will have you moving in your seat. Zendaya as Chani is more of an extended cameo, but does the needful. However, the antagonist Fire-Drotha isn't scary enough. Don't get me wrong, Austin Butler playing the character does a great job. I assuming it's the writing that tames the character down a bit too much. The music by four-time Oscar winner Hans Zimmer is where the film hits the ball straight out of the park. The album has a sense of mystery, magnificence, and menace at the same time. The film's color palette deserves an honorable mention. The film, mostly set in the desert, has warmer tones dominating the frames. It is the blues in the characters' eyes that make life in the inhabitable land really pop out. The grayscale sequence set in the Harkonnen Empire is a spectacle. It will be nitpicking, but the climax battle passes like a flash. It is riveting, but it isn't proportional to the hours of build-up that went in. The film's underlying theme is faith and power, where exposure to the former makes one blind, and the latter makes one forget their cause. However, the film does not get preachy about it. Huge-scale projects often lose the intimacy and nuance one expects from art, but Dune 2 is an exception. So that was it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.